Okay, Siman Gimel Sif Aleph. Let's go. Be'eza oifin mutter lases kodim Shabbos malach la'akum ulahashil ulahaskir lekelim. In what manner can a person before Shabbos give something to a guy to do a malacha, or to lend him, or to rent to him kelim that he should use it on Shabbos? So it's not completely everything that we did. It'll be a lot of what we just learned in the last 2 weeks. And then some will be stuff that we're not that we didn't learn yet, but it's not difficult. And then we'll go through, when we finish this siman, which shouldn't take us hopefully too long. We'll jump to the end. There's another couple of sifim that cover some of the stuff that we covered, and then we'll be able to pause from this for Chanukah. So, but let's try to do what we can. A lot of this we did outside, so we won't have to add too much to it, hopefully. And I assume that you'll all be able to follow along very quickly. So, Sif Aleph. Actually, 1 second. I just wanted to pull up here. Okay, apologies here. Okay. I got to share this over here. Okay, that's it. Okay, Sif Aleph. Also, laniach la'akum sheyasem meleches Yisrael b'Shabbos. You're not allowed to leave a guy or to permit a guy to do malacha for you on Shabbos. Okay, there were 3 reasons that we said why you're not supposed to be doing this. One of them was, okay, well, we'll see in a second. And for sure, you're not allowed to tell him to do it for you. Here, if you notice, he's saying you're not even allowed to let him do it for you, which means he's doing it on his own. But for sure, you can't tell them to do it for you. Usmachu al hapasuk, and this is a smach, which means that the chachamim relied on a pasuk. So it's not a midaraisa; it's the chachamim made a gzeira, and they relied on the pasuk. What does the pasuk say? V'chol malacha lo ye'aseh. No malacha shall be done. The mashma afilu ayudei akum, which implies even not through you, even if someone else is doing it for you, that would count as a problem as well. And this is, as we said, that they become like your shliach, even though generally a guy is not a shliach for a yid in halachic terms. But for this, the Rabbanan will say, Chachamim will say that we attribute it as if you had done it yourself. There was another reason that we mentioned also, which was that v'daber davar, that your speech will be made into chayil, into mundane speech if you're talking about getting malachas done. And we also mentioned the third reason, which was that when you get them to do it for you, so you're belittling Shabbos to the degree that eventually you might do it yourself or something along those lines. Now, but let's say you gave it to the guy to do it for you before Shabbos. So you're not asking him on Shabbos. It was done already before Shabbos and given to him. Even if the guy will do it on Shabbos itself, it could still be okay. Mutter, it could still be okay. But there's some conditions, like we said, and now only if it's done with these conditions. And now we're going to mention 5 conditions that will take us all the way through Sif Vav. So condition number 1, Sha'akum yikach es hachefetz mibeisai. Sha'akum yikach es hachefetz mibeisai shal yisrael kodim haShabbos v'loi b'Shabbos. Number 1, he has to take it out of your house before Shabbos. So he gets the job. He needs to get that, whatever he's working on, and take it out of your house. He can't come on Shabbos and take it from your house. Sif Beis. Number 2, Number 2 is you have to designate that you're going to be paying him for the work that he does. So he's not just your shliach, he's doing it for his own benefit because he wants to make money. And the Alter Rebbe adds over here that Amar sheyitin loischore. Let's say you tell him you're going to pay him. But you didn't say how much. That would be good enough as well. Because even if there's no amount that you specified, he understands he's doing it for his benefit because he's going to be getting paid. And if that's the case, when he does the work, he's doing it for himself, not for you. He wants to get money. Which is why, if a person has someone who works for them for a certain time period, meaning they're not being paid for the job, they're being paid for the time, then asur laniach lelasis malacha b'Shabbos. Then they're not allowed to do any work for you on Shabbos. Because then whatever they do is for your benefit. Right? Their time is your time. right? You pay them for their time. And now what they do during that time is for you, as opposed to if you tell them, here's a job that I want you to do it whenever you want, and I'll pay you for that job, then the money or the work that they do is for themselves, like we explained in the past. Let's say you have a guy who's traveling somewhere. The Yid, they didn't have postal services. So the Yid gives him a package to take for him. And he's also going to be carrying it on Shabbos. Again, the Yid has to pay him. So now the guy is doing it for him, for his money, for himself, and not for free. Okay, so he's going anyways, and you have to pay him. Otherwise, he would be doing it as a favor for you, as your shliach, and he'd be traveling on Shabbos for you. We did explain that it depends. If the people are doing deliveries, Avi, do you mind closing the door? That if people are doing deliveries and they're driving there anyway, so then there might be some leeway, but we'll leave that simple for now. Fine. Sib Gimel. The schar has to be, like we said, for the job and not for paying them per hour. Because as we explained, if you pay them per hour, then what they do is for you. If you're paying them for the job, then what they do is for themselves. They just have to finish the job whenever it is. Meaning a contractor is that you give them a job and you say, you do this. Whenever you do it, you could do it. If it's convenient for you on Shabbos, whatever. It doesn't bother me. But if you tell them, I want you to work from 9 to p.m. till 12 a.m. on Shabbos, Friday night, and you have to come, and then whatever they do during that time is for you. You buy their time. And now whatever work they do is for you.
Right, and the difference would be that if you say that you told them to do a specific job, then.
So, okay, we're not talking about in your house itself, but if you told them to do a specific job, then yes, they're helping you. But anytime they work and the work that they put in is there for themselves, for them to get paid. As opposed to if you say per hour means if the guy comes and he sits in your kitchen and he doesn't do anything for 3 hours, then he's still getting paid. You paid for their time. Doesn't matter what they do. So when they do it, they're doing it for you. You ask them to do something, they'll do it. As opposed to if I give them a job, so now it's there. It's their responsibility. They can do it whenever they want, wherever they want. So therefore, any work they do is for themselves. Okay. Hope that makes sense. Dalet, Sif Dalet, this is number 4. Condition number 4 would be like this. You're not allowed to designate for the guy that he should do the work on Shabbos. Even if you didn't say, do it on Shabbos, but Ella, you set a time of when you're going to pick it up. Let's just say when he should finish his work, Shabbos, and it's immediately after Shabbos or very close. And it's very obvious. It's impossible that he could finish what you gave him ad yom zeh to that date that you decided that he has to be finished by. Unless he'll do it on Shabbos. Gam Kain Aser, that would be Aser as well. So again, if you gave it to him Friday before Shabbos and you tell him I'm going to pick it up Motzei Shabbos, so that's a problem because when else is he going to do it if not for Shabbos? As opposed to, if you remember, we said that if you give it on Friday right before they close and they say after the weekend you have to come on Monday morning, right? Which means that the only time they're doing it is Shabbos because Sunday they're closed. But nevertheless, that would be okay because when he closes on Shabbos, that's his. When he closes on Sunday, that's his choice. He wants Sunday off, but he has a day to do the work. It doesn't have to be that he does it on Shabbos. It's his choice. And if it's his choice, we're okay with that, as we'll see again later when we get to the end of it. Okay. Now, same thing would be if you send a letter with this guy, and you tell him it should be delivered by a certain date. And you know that it's impossible for him to get there unless he also travels on Shabbos. So the halacha is Gam Kain Aser, it would be Aser as well because he has to go there. And someone actually asked me, it's a very interesting case. It comes up with a lot of stuff, but he was getting a delivery of baby diapers and it was supposed to come Friday by Shabbos, by 10 p.m. So he asked me if when it gets delivered, if he'd be able to use it. So he lived in an area which is very helpful, and it was an Amazon delivery, which means that it was already local. It wasn't coming from out of the Tchum. So the only issue was that the delivery was being done special for him. So even if it was being done special for him, number one, it was for a kid. It was for a baby, for diapers, and therefore you could do Amir al-Akum for a baby. So therefore I told him that he could use it as long as he opens the package in a particular way, which we'll discuss later in the year. And then also, okay, so that was number one. Now, if it was for himself, he probably would have been able to use it also because he lived in the Erev. The problem is that this week the Erev went down on the west side of Phoenix, which is where he lives. So all of a sudden it got a little tricky. But I didn't call him back because it was for the baby. So even if it was coming from Rosh Hashanah, even if it is a Rosh Hashanah, but either way for the baby, you'll be okay. So I didn't call him back. But either way, why am I saying that here? Because if over there, when he clicked order, it says delivery by 10 p.m., which means delivery is Friday. They're choosing to go around in a specific way to come by 10 o'clock. Technically, they could come earlier, and they might come earlier. Sometimes it comes earlier. They switch. You wake up in the morning, it says by 10 o'clock. A few hours later, it says, by 7 p.m. And then they come in earlier. So with all those things together, either way, it was okay in this case, because as I mentioned, it was for a baby. But when you say delivery by, you have to know what you're choosing. You go on Amazon and you say 1 day delivery and it's Friday, which means that it's going to come on Shabbos. So that, in theory, should always be a problem. In the winter, as we mentioned, it may not be a problem because they also end up coming after Shabbos. Shabbos is over at 6 o'clock. And they come very often 7, 8, 9. So if that's the case, then you have some leeway there as well. Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay, so this we didn't actually discuss in the last couple of weeks, but you'll see the same theory would go along with this. Similarly, if you live in a place where the marketplace is on Shabbos, that means everyone is doing everything on Shabbos. There are certain fears that happen. They have like First Fridays where I live, and first this, first that, where they have like celebrations. So First Fridays are a little close to Shabbos, hard for me to get there. And there are other places that have like what do they call them? A garden shop. No, it's not a garden show. It's like when you get to the farmer's market. So farmer's market is a great place to go. You're challah, artisanal, and all that stuff. But it's always on Shabbos. They always do it on Shabbos. So the problem is that sometimes for many people, a convenient day to do things is Shabbos. So you live in a place, or someone lives in a place where the market is on Shabbos. So then, the market day. Nowadays, you go to the supermarket every day of the week. But it used to be people would work the whole week and gather all their produce and bring it to the market on 1 day a week, which was Shabbos. Maybe not the fruits because those would go bad, but maybe it was just other stuff that people could go and buy. So the point is that it was only on 1 day a week when everyone would gather together from all the little stetlach. So either way, the story was like this: the person lives in a place that the day of the shuk, the day that they do all the business, is on Shabbos. So he obviously can't do business because it's Shabbos, so he has to go into some other thing. But in addition to that, asur lases lenachri ma'is be'erev Shabbos. You're also not allowed to give a guy money on Friday before Shabbos. Sheyikna le'ezeh davar, to buy something for you. Why? Sheyedua, because as we just said, he has no choice. It's obvious. When else could he buy it if not for Shabbos? The market is only open on Shabbos. It's like a store being only open on Shabbos. So where else is he going to do? So if you give him money when he goes and he buys it on Friday, you gave him money and you tell him to buy it, he's buying it for you on Shabbos. So that is a problem. However, he says like this: because you didn't tell him that he should buy it on Shabbos, so the issue is only if you gave it to him on Friday. Because Friday is so close to Shabbos that it's very obvious that you gave it to him with the intention that he should go tomorrow and buy it. It's as if you said it. But let's say you gave him the money on Thursday or Wednesday or Tuesday. So then, then you could give him that money because that's the only option you have. And it's not clear that it's for Shabbos, even though we all kind of know that. It's like what we said when we were learning the halachas about giving a remez b'derech tzivur. If you give a hint during the week that he should have done something like, I wish you would have turned on the light last Shabbos. And now he knows for next time that he should. If you told it to him on Sunday, you could do that. So here also, because you're giving it to him early in the week, he could go even though he kind of has no choice, but because it's so distant from it, you could. The Alter Rebbe says only letzayre, which means that let's say there's no other way for you to do parnasa, business, and that's the only day, or it's something that you desperately need or whatever, then you could. But stamazay, to give it to him on Thursday or Wednesday, is still not okay, unless it's letzayre for a need. But no, here he says you could, but the Alter Rebbe adds the word letzayre, which basically means only if you have no option, you have no choice. The stuff could only be purchased on Shabbos. The question is, how much do you need that object? If it's something that the Alter Rebbe says that's you actually need it, okay, so you ask him on Wednesday or Thursday or Tuesday, you give him the money, and you don't tell him buy it on Shabbos. You just tell him, can you buy this for me? But the only day the market is open is on Shabbos, but because it's so far removed from the Shabbos, so therefore it's okay. Because in those days, that's how they would work. They would all work in the farm or whatever, and they would gather. Yeah, nowadays you have options other ways, so this wouldn't be so relevant. But it's still relevant. You do have, that's why I started saying, you do have, let's say, a farmer's market. Let's say I tell someone, can you go and buy me organic soap that's made from honeybees? I don't know. Right, so that's what they sell in a lot of these places. So then don't, and you know that they have to go there. So then that's something, yeah. But it may these days it's not. You can get on Amazon. You can get from everything exactly. So it's not. No, so that's what I'm saying. Food, right? So food they may have had open other days of the week because food also goes bad. So if they sell it on Shabbos, yeah, I don't know, whatever it is. Someone needs a tool. I don't know something. But the Kitzur says, look, it's not great. Just like the Alter Rebbe said, he also doesn't like it. So he says, the best thing is don't live in such a place where your only option is the store is open on Shabbos. Don't move there in the first place. It's not possible that you'll never have a mistake and do an Aveda Chas v'Shalom. It'll come Friday and you're desperate for something and you might ask him to do it, which then you're not allowed to do it. So don't go there in the first place. Now, Ashuk Eina Bishchunas Hayuhud. And he says, however, if let's say this shuk, this marketplace is not even near where the Yidden live, Bechlal, so then Ein Lachush, then it's not a big deal. So let's say you live in the city and the market which is nearby is outside the city. So then it's okay because it's so far removed from you geographically, the same way that Thursday or Wednesday was removed in time. So if it's removed in place, so that's also, you know what, you give him money, you let him do what he wants. It's not next to you anyways. So then you could give it to him during the week. I'm not sure about Friday though. Didn't exactly say, but it looks like if you say Ein Lachosh, it means you have no concern. So it looks like you could even give it to him on Friday because it's not going to be. Oh, you know, one second. No, actually, I wrote a note. I must have seen this in the Alter Rebbe, that it actually looks like you still should not give it to him on Friday. You could give it to him on Thursday. The Kitzur said if you give it to him on Thursday, better don't live in a place and that's your only option unless you have to. But now he's saying is that let's say this market is outside the city or something like that, then you could give it to him on Thursday without any concerns. Okay, we'll leave the fifth one for tomorrow, but okay.